Center, and Sioux Falls making a return trip to the playoffs in the dark jerseys. Opening tip to the Skyforce.
Mentioned that Sioux Falls has had the more roster turnover, that among their key players. Westchester's added some people since they last played, but mainly off the bench.
Here's Liggins turning the corner against Trice.
And on the other end,
Jordan Baczynski played the first 49 games. Pull up on Antetokounmpo.
Well, that's not normally TA's shot, only shooting just over 20% from deep, but he has hit it better during the second half of the year.
Antetokounmpo has only played one time against Sioux Falls. He was called up to the New York Knicks during 3 meetings. Off the turnover, Trice to Fredette, a 3, rattled in. Head coach Mike Miller wouldn't give.
Well, one reason for that is Antetokounmpo hits again off to the good start for a 10-2 Nick lead. One reason for that is that, again, there's a lot of roster turnover during the course of the D-League season. Sometimes you can't read too much into a season series because some guys played in certain games, others did not.
Paolo, this time too strong. Baczynski boxing out Stokes. The Knicks again on the run. Antetokounmpo Fredette defending Paolo. We saw a shot of Mike Miller. The Knicks opened up 6-0 in November, tying the largest winning streak to open up a season in D-League history, earning Mike Miller November Coach of the Month. Jabril Trawick working against Wright. On the kick out to Liggins, catch and shoot for 3.
DeAndre Liggins, the 5th leading three-point shooter in the D-League at 43%.
Sioux Falls early in the first quarter. Keith Wright against a smaller defender gets to the rim for 2.
And Keith Wright, normally not known for his scoring, only averaging about 7 or 8 points a game, but as you said, David, he noticed the big mismatch, so you have to take advantage, and he did.
Liggins, pocket pass on the bounce to Stokes. He is so nimble at 6'7", 250. And he...
Well, that from here in Westchester, in the northern part of the metropolitan area, just north of New York City. Averaging about 15 a game off the bench. Stokes with position.
Maneuvers underneath the basket and takes Baczynski one-on-one for 2.
Good footwork to get around the 7'2" Jordan Baczynski. Sioux Falls, a team that has good depth, great depth really, a number of guys that can hurt you. They might not get 25 or 30, but they're going to get their 12, 15, or 17.
Fredette forcing it against Magruder, well defended. Skyforce without numbers. The trailer, Trawick, going right to the rim for the scoop.
And too easy right there for the former Georgetown star, Jabril Travis. Situation, though, I think to a large degree continues to be a mystery as to why no team has given him that shot. He's put up the numbers here in the D-League, averaging over 21 a game.
Over 90% from the free throw line, #1 in the D-League for Fredette, who earned a single 10-day contract with the New York Knicks earlier this season. He also got called up by New Orleans at the start of the D-League. Circling, shovels it, Baczynski having Benson pinned on his back, and he scores.
And Baczynski's a guy we've discussed during the season, Dave, the fact that we wonder why he hasn't gotten more of a shot in the NBA. Guy's 7'2", and he can play.
Briante Weber weaving through to Keith Benson. One-handed no, follows his own miss.
And too easy off the offensive glass that time. Baczynski, the only white. Well, Westchester actually, as Baczynski is able to power one home. Westchester actually, very unusual at this level, has a better record on the road than they do at home.
They split a pair of meetings in South Dakota as part of the 4-game season series. Whittington has already hit 1, and another one falls from deep.
Making with the gyrations after put. So with their more modest, capable though modest offensive attack, Westchester's got to be fueled on the defensive end where they excel.
10 on the timer, past the midway point of the second quarter. Knicks led 8-0, and then it's been all Sioux Falls. Benson rolling to the basket, takes the contact, and one.
Well, that time, to say the least, for Sioux Falls, and they continue to play her offensively. Still not a great rebounder for his size, but a guy that I think you could easily plug in as a third center in the NBA. And of course, if you're a third center, you're just one injury away from being the backup center.
Stokes back in, Byczynski with the defensive assignment. Stokes gets the friendly roll off the iron.
And does it against the 7'2" Byczynski despite the big height.
The last 48.
And so thanks for reminding me, they start 0-2 and then begin 22-4 en route to the 40-10 record as Stokes goes to the bucket. Isn't that how some NFL coaches have gotten started, working for free, breaking down the video?
It's all about cutting tape. Just make sure the good stuff isn't on the editing room floor, right?
Of course, fortunately now, there's not a lot of actual cutting since it's done on computer. Not a lot of actual cutting since it's done on computer.
Fredette weaving through the defense.
And does not have much support. But I think considering the way they've played defensively and turning it over, the Knicks are fortunate to be within 12.
Trice, the steal and the score in the open floor.
Well, he said he's off on the catalyst, and he was right there. Good all-around player. He can pass, can drive. Off on the catalyst, and he was right there. Good all-around player. He can pass, can drive, can shoot. Good on the defensive end. Had 5 steals in a recent game down the stretch.
Difference is 10. 3:30 to go in the first half. The handoff, Weber. Deflected out. It'll stay with the Skyforce.
Well, Westchester, in nearly tripling their 10 wins, second worst in the league. They've been blown out very dramatic.
Safety first.
Fortunately, no blow.
Under 2 minutes to go. Trice driving on Paulo. Defended well. Sioux Falls on the run out. 3-on-1. Stokes with the power jam.
Another easy transition bucket, and Stokes now with 18 points here in the opening half on 8 of 10. Well, and so after a fast start, Antetokounmpo slowing down. He does have 9 points and 4 boards, but aside from Fredette, come the second half, looking ahead, David, someone is going to need to step up offensively for Westchester, really more than a someone. Need to be more of a team effort.
Traorek against Antetokounmpo. It's out of bounds to the Knicks. And on the prior possession, change ends to start the third quarter. 13-point advantage for Sioux Falls. The miss rebounded by DeAndre Liggins.
Jimmer Fredette starting this third quarter despite playing with the 3 fouls, as is Thanasis Antetokounmpo, also with 3.
Antetokounmpo, a rebound in traffic. Fredette picked up his 3rd foul, 2nd. Trice around the screen, gets into the paint. The finger roll is through.
And Westchester can certainly use more of that. Trice was quiet in the opening half. And as for Antetokounmpo, getting back to him for just a moment, folks, if you're wondering, is he related to the Greek Freak? Well, he is. The Greek Freak is no freakier than that man Stokes, who continues to burn Westchester. Of course, we're talking about.
On the reset to Trice, it was deflected to a wide open Keith Wright, lays it in.
And I would be surprised if Westchester doesn't make at least one run to make this a ball game, David. All year we've seen with this Knick team that they are rarely out of one.
Over Fredette, Paulo with the miss. A chance to cut it to single figures. Trice on the move. Byczynski. 2 minutes gone by, second half. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Stokes spinning on Byczynski, draws the help, and scores plus the foul.
Well, not enough. As high as 29, he can now get to 20. Work out for him. Sometimes that's the case. Guys find that they don't fit in, either basketball-wise or off the court for some reason, and they make their way back. And There's often a spot for them here in the D-League.
Liggins to Magruder, matched up against Antetokounmpo. Driving baseline to find Trawick, who is hammered.
So Westchester down a dozen. Chance for Sioux Falls series, as we mentioned earlier, if you're joining us late, folks. All the playoff series.
Calls for game 2 and game 3 if necessary, putting an even bigger importance on game 1. Liggins wasn't watching, nearly got stripped by Trice. He recovers and fires to the corner from Magruder. Rebounded by Sioux Falls, but then lost in the paint. Trice 1-on-3, looks back, Fredette. Too strong on a 3, and a battle for the Liggins wasn't watching, nearly got stripped by Trice. He recovers and fires to the corner from Magruder. Rebounded by Sioux Falls, but then lost in the paint. Trice 1-on-3, looks back, Fredette. Too strong on a 3, and a battle for the rebound down to Stokes. The other way, Magruder, Euro step in the paint, his layup short. Trice surveys his options.
When those big hands get on the basketball in good position, he's able to finish, and of course, not a lot of men his size can necessarily do that consistent.
Down to 11, a chant of defense from the home Westchester crowd.
Crowds have been good here. If Westchester gets close, they'll be into it.
Over the shoulder pass to Magruder. Beautiful cut to the rim.
And DeAndre Liggins with the feed. For Bowling Green, playing for the former Syracuse star Louis Orr. No longer the coach at Bowling Green, but was then.
With the early advantages.
And you look at those brackets, David, it's interesting. Like in the NBA in recent years, the teams in the West seem to be more high-flying, much more offensive-minded here in the D-League than the teams in the East. We've talked about the defensive physicality of leading the league. They average 123 points a game. Former Marquette star, #1 of the league individually, at 26 per game. Something in the air out west.
Crawford elevating to the rim. And what's interesting about the playoffs this season, 3 returners in the East, 3 newcomers in the West.
Wide open.
Whittington off target. Antetokounmpo grabs the board. Under 3 minutes to go in the third. These teams separated by a dozen.
And I'll tell you, Westchester's still within reach despite the subpar play.
Atkins facing up against Stokes. Briante Weber in here in the third quarter.
Man advantage, Liggins slow getting up.
Trice boxing out, helped out by Rashad James. He's got an explosion. Falling away, switch.
Just a great scorer, Rashad James. We mentioned earlier he grew up 5 minutes from here in White Plains in Westchester County. For those of you not familiar with the New York metropolitan area, about a half hour north of New York City, maybe a little bit less. Depends on traffic, right?
Stokes from the outside. High rebound on Antetokounmpo. Chance to trim the deficit to single figures.
John Lenahan, Eric Murdoch. What are the odds of that?
Backhanded feed inside. Vichinsky couldn't reach for it. Extra pass, Whittington. Ball is loose and Weber is there.
Hot potato goes to Sioux Falls. That epitomizes their big day.
High screen, Benson, Liggins, in and out dribble, and just inside the foul line connects.
DeAndre Liggins, a tough matchup for Westchester. He's 6'6".
Sioux Falls turning it over against 4th-seeded Westchester, making their first. With Joey Waller, David Resnick here in White Plains as Sioux Falls looks to grab a 1-0 series lead. Whittington the steal. Antetokounmpo on his hip.
Westchester foul charts number 43 finesses Antetokounmpo.
2 Knicks from Westchester earning 10-day contracts with the New Wins belong to LA. The D-Fenders, D-Fenders.
James misfires. Vichinsky outraced by Whittington.
Both teams inept on the offensive end to start the fourth.
Liggins with the mismatch against Crawford. Magruder, high shot, straight through.
And beautiful ball movement. That's the kind of thing we've seen from Sioux Falls, not so much for Westchester.
And a loose ball foul as the Sioux Falls defense, and that's what the Skyforce has done the entire year, just coming at you in waves with relentless defense and solid offense. Benson inside.
Like these two, like Maine, which won the Atlantic Division, they play good team ball. Team ball works in basketball in any league,
Magruder left it short. Weber, offensive rebound for Sioux Falls.
For Stokes, while all this is happening, getting a nice long breather on the bench.
Weber on the move. Deflected by Trice to James. Weber stole it back. 2 on 9 for Magruder.
And Mike Miller over yet. He's been on the bench for a while, taking a nice respite. We mentioned coming in, Sioux Falls 22-4 with him in the lineup. They've shown us why. We mentioned he leads the league, 66% shooting, and he has shown us why there.
A chance for Sioux Falls to take its largest lead of the ball game. It lips out for Winnington in transition. Knicks have 8:35 to deal with here in the fourth as Fredette.
Or I did anyway, and how good a player he was at this level, and wondered why he hasn't gotten to the next level. He's a guy who's both physical, tough, but can also score. Takes a lot to make it to the NBA, even as one of the last roster spots. That's the kind of combination you need.
DeAndre Liggins just shielding off Kevin Capers and then hits the jumper.
And doing a lot of talking in the direction of Mr. from Division II. Well, you can make it here in the D-League, and of course, that puts you just a step away.
Inside of 8 minutes to go, Westchester here at home trailing as Sioux Falls looks to take a 1-0 games lead in this best of 3, with the series shifting back to Sioux Falls for game 2 and 3. Good contest by the Knicks. Here's Capers on the run. Pull up 2, draws the foul.
Will doing it right here. Capers to the line, moving his team within 13.
Capers, the 9th player to play for Westchester this evening. 9 players have come into the game for the Skyforce. Each team carrying 10 active players for this Eastern Conference semifinal game 1. Liggins with a great fake and then a bullet pass inside for an easy 2. Briante Weber.
You say easy 2 for Sioux. Easy 3 right there from Travis Trice.
So once again, back to a dozen. 7 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. The crowd energized earlier, trying to pick back up here. Weber over Atkins, too strong. Another offensive rebound, and Magruder draws the horn.
Yeah, but
answers with a running layup.
Trice has put together a decent game now, 15 points, but possibly too little too late. The 3 main cogs for Westchester, Trice, Baczynski, and of course Fredette, just have not done enough as a group today. Fredette doing it in spurts, offensive Friday at 8, and if necessary at name the higher seed there.
The charge coming from behind to defeat the Red Claws at home, and it was Canton that took 3 of 4 against Maine. 2-time All-Star for the New York Knicks, and after injuries derailed his career in his 30s, transitioning to a front office position,
well,
guiding Westchester to the playoffs in year number 2.
Sorry, David, guess who just returned for Sioux Falls?
Floor. Capers missing the layup inside. Time dwindling for the home Knicks. Inside of 5 minutes to play in a 12-point game.
Capers taking a bump, no call. Fans behind us trying to egg on the refs, but no whistle. They are in no hurry, Sioux Falls. Plenty of ability and, more importantly, plenty of time to be patient. But they're down to 2.
Liggins beats the buzzer.
Jordan's had a solid game, 16 points, 5 rebounds, but I think they needed more from him and more consistently today to make Stokes work harder, as I said earlier, has not taken place.
Into Stokes, spinning and scoring.
So that not what the Knicks need, just exchanging buckets.
3:40 left, pull front of the iron. The rebound down to Boo Boo Paulo.
Haven't seen Paulo for a while, but Boo Boo will slow it down. And again, why not? Clock is a friend of the Skyforce. The Force is with them, and so is time.
Sioux Falls over the century mark, looking for more with 6 on the timer. Magruder, a 3. Yes, sir.
Rodney Magruder is one of the great three-point shooters in the D-League. We having to
Sioux Falls lead trimmed to 13 with Kevin Capers made field goal in the paint. Trice, backcourt defense against Paulo. Up ahead, Liggins.
So they play keep away, work the clock.
9 on the timer. Paulo, a wide open paint. Defense collapse, allowing Stokes to get in on the offensive glass. And he
Long rest here.